Hello friends. Before I get into this subject matter of this next video, I want to say something about people that think that things I say about relationships and marriage and wife and husband, and basically romantic relationships, sometimes they can be construed and misunderstood as negative and depressing and down. I want to say this is quite the contrary. This is quite the opposite. It is actually about understanding what the foundation of romantic relationships are, so that when they fall apart, you don't get hurt, you don't get depressed, you don't get sad and commit suicide and go drinking and be angry and be despondent. You should be the opposite, because now you understand what it was all along, and when it ends, you laugh it off instead of getting sad and going to a bar and have a tear in your beer and rest of that BS. My only purpose is to make you understand that it wasn't what you had imagined in your mind. So when it ends, you shouldn't feel sad. It's like getting laid off from work, from a job. You know, some people get angry. Oh, I worked here, I labored here 30 years, and you know, give me a watch or a 2-week paycheck and lay me off. Well, if you understand, you realize when they hired you, it wasn't out of love, and when they fired you, it wasn't out of hate. They just didn't need you anymore. And when they hired you, they needed you. Understand that. And now getting to the subject matter of this video, it's the very same subject matter, romantic relationships. You know, when you get into a marriage, us men, the first love we experience is from our mother. You know, of course, women feel it too, but this is talking about the man's point of view. The first love we experience, the most purest, the most strongest, the most unconditional, the most unmatched, and the last real love we experience is from our mother. And we later on go into, you know, we grow up and go into the world and we date women and you know, they show us their smile and they show us their sweet side and everything. And we lull ourselves into thinking that, oh, well, this is the second love, just like I had from my mother. And you lull yourself into thinking that, oh, she really loves you unconditionally, just like your mom did. Whereas nothing could be further from the truth. And the thing is, when it ends, then you realize how wrong you were. Whereas a mother's love will never end, right? So we lull ourselves, we fool ourselves because a lie and a story that we tell ourselves is always much more pleasant than the truth. The reality is always more harsh and painful than the fantasy that we nurture and feed in our mind. So we choose to look at the fantasy and the lie and the story and the fairy tale rather than the real thing, because we as humans, we love pleasure and we hate pain. So we do whatever we can to increase the frequency of experiencing pleasure and decrease the frequency of experiencing pain. So it's all about lying to ourselves despite knowing better. Despite knowing better, we kind of look the other way and we assume, oh no, this is real love. This is just like the unconditional love that I experienced from my mother. When you know deep down inside, in your subconscious mind, you know that is not true. And then when the relationship ends, the truth slaps you in the face and reminds you, hey, all those times you looked away, all those times you chose to look at the fantasy instead of the real story, well, now it's payback time. Now it's time to stop fooling yourself and face the music. So the subject matter, the point of this video, and there's always a point, is that you must accept when you know the truth, when you know the reality, when you know what it's all about, when you know that you're lying to yourself, that the only love you ever experience as a man, unconditional, I should say, unconditional love and pure love, is from your mother, and that it will never be repeated again. It's like a chapter of life that ends. It's like a childhood that ends, And no matter how much you try to revive it and relive it and bring it back, it won't work. That period of your life is over forever. Maybe if you're born again, you'll experience it again, but not in this lifetime. So facing the reality, having knowledge that the truth shall make you free applies here again very much. Facing the reality and the knowledge will only help you when the time comes, when a relationship ends. I hope that time never comes for you, but usually it does. You will not be nearly as much hurt. You will not be nearly as much sad and despondent and, you know, living under a dark cloud and all those negative, end of the world feeling that sometimes you have when the relationships are ending. I know it because I've experienced it. But when you understand, it is so much easier. It is so much easier to bear, and the period of recovery, the period of getting over will be so much shorter. It helps that from the get-go, you don't let it completely cover your heart and your mind. From the get-go, always remind yourself that this is a romantic relationship. It's not the kind of love that I think it was. No matter what the person tells you, no matter what she does or says, it isn't. Believe me. You might disagree with me because you're in the throes of the good part of the relationship, but believe me, the time will come where the universe and the reality will remind you that fooling yourself will only work for a while. So don't do it. From the get-go, always keep that reality in the back of your mind. Enjoy it while you can. Enjoy it while you can. The old saying is, enjoy it while it lasts, because it never does. Isn't it true with anything else in life? Do you know anything in life that lasts forever? Do you know anything in life that is not temporary? Even life itself, is it not temporary? Well, so are relationships, and most especially romantic relationships. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it never does. All the best.